Hello, as you can see I am in a different spot today because I'm on a little city trip to The Hague. I have a few days off of work and I figured it'd be nice to actually do something and be like a tourist in my own country. So I booked a hotel for a couple of days in The Hague and I thought I'd take you along. This little trip is going to be mostly me reading in different places with cake, with maybe some museum visits in between, and also we're quite close to the beach here, so I might take a trip to the beach. But yeah, I thought I'd show you around here, and I hope you enjoy it. So since I kind of feel awkward filming in public, it's just gonna be me in different locations in my hotel room. So yesterday I ended up going to the Mauritshuis first of all, which is a museum. I've been there I think nearly 15 years ago, and I remember it being different from what it was now. It's like an old an old sort of stately home that is turned into a museum, and from what I remember it was just like the actual home, but this time they added like a whole new wing, which I didn't like as much because it just felt much more bigger, and I get it because it seems like a good way to handle like the number of tourists that visit, but yeah, it felt a bit big for me, and like last time it was just very much that old stately home going through it. But yeah, I still had a really good time. It has some really famous paintings. It has some Rembrandts. It has The Girl with the Pearl Earring, which is one of my favorite paintings. It's definitely one of those paintings that doesn't convey really well in pictures. Like, you have to see it in real life to have its full impact, and it's just really, really wonderful. And it has The Goldfinch, which the book by Donna Tartt is based on. And one of my favorites that I discovered this time was a painting by Judith Leister, who is like a female Dutch, a female painter from the Dutch Golden Age, so in the same style as Rembrandt and Vermeer, and she had been, her works had been credited to a lot of other famous painters, and only like in the last 100 years ago it was discovered that they were done by her. And yeah, I'll try and put in some pictures, and that was a painting that I really, really loved. Then I wandered around a bit more, had some food, and I went to the cinema in the evening. I went to see a Japanese movie called Sunshine, My Sunshine, something like that, which was lovely, but it was very much a style over substance movie. It was a movie about a boy who he plays ice hockey, and when he's training he sees this girl practicing figure skating, and he gets really interested and he wants to try himself. And that's basically the premise of the movie. Really beautifully shot. All done in these beautiful soft pastel colors, like lots of beautiful snowy scenes, lots of great ice dancing sequences, but it really didn't have any story. I thought it was going to be a bit more conflict about this boy who wanted to do figure skating. You know, maybe his parents would object, or his friends would tease him. But yeah, no, his parents were all like, well, sure, do whatever you like, make your decision. His friends, you know, they were joking around, but generally very supportive. And it just sort of continues on like that, being all sort of very lovely and beautiful for about 3/4 of the movie, and then there's like a little point of conflict, but since the movie was so much about these beautiful scenes and we'd rarely had any dialogue, the characters didn't really come to life, so the conflict that emerged didn't really have any meaning to me, because I hadn't really got to know any of the characters really well. So yeah, I don't think I would recommend it, although it was just visually really stunning, and yeah, just a nice thing to watch in the evening. The cinema was super lovely as well. It was like an art house cinema, and I think the screen where it was one of the smallest ones, and like rather than yeah, like normal cinema seats, it just had like different chairs and sofas, which was really lovely. So yeah, that was yesterday. I just had breakfast. I had one day of hotel breakfast, and it was really one of the better hotel breakfasts I've ever had. It was just yeah, it was really good. I'm really full right now because I wanted to try so many things. And then for the rest of the day, first I'm going to go book shopping, which I am so excited about. I have been on a sort of self-imposed book ban since I think the last time I actually went book shopping was in my summer holiday, and I had a few books coming in since then, but I haven't been to properly book shopping in a bookstore since. It is Dutch Book Week this week, so I'm looking for a lot of Dutch authors or Dutch language books. There is 2 bookstores in particular I want to visit, and depending on how many books I get, maybe after that I will also go to the English language bookstores, because they have a few here. So yeah, I am really excited to browse all the books. I have some books I have in mind that I want to get, but I also just want to browse and see what's there. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. First I'm going to go and get a coffee somewhere, and then book shopping, and then the afternoon will probably be spent at the beach. Let's do a book haul. I had a really nice day today. Like I said, I went book shopping in the morning, and then I went to the beach in the afternoon, and it was just glorious. It's definitely one of those first spring days where you can go outside without a coat on, and at the beach was just lovely because they were all setting up all the beach huts and stuff, and it was just good vibes, you know, everyone getting excited for the spring and the summer. But yeah, I bought some books as well. They are mostly Dutch language books, but I'm gonna bookend them with 2 English books. The first one I got at Stanza International Bookshop, which is a small but really lovely bookshop. They have English books, but they also have I think a Spanish and a French selection, and it's one of those bookshops that is small but very well curated, which I love. Love a bookshop where every book seems very carefully selected by the staff, and also just had these really beautiful sage green bookshelves, which were just gorgeous, and the staff was really friendly as well. I was taking some clips, and they asked me like, do you share these on social media? So I told them about my booktube channel, and they said they were going to check it out. I mentioned a couple of other booktubers that would come in regularly as well. I didn't recognize all their names, but I know Willow from Willow Talks Books. She has mentioned this bookshop before. So yeah, long story short, the book I got there was Clear by Caris Davies. Caris Davies is one of those authors that I think I would really love. I believe she is a Welsh author, so I got a little nod to Downton in this March. Although this book is set in Scotland on like a small island of the Scottish coast, somewhere sometime in like the 19th century. I don't know much about this. I know that Simon of Savage Reads had it on his top 10 books of the year, maybe even his favorite one. And also I am very partial to like a slim hardback. So that's what I picked up there. And then I went to 2 Dutch language bookstores. And like I said, it is Dutch Book Week, and everyone who buys a book in Dutch will get a little book for free. This is this year's edition. Every year a different writer writes the little book. I've not heard very good things about it, but that's okay. I like the idea of getting a little free book. Another sort of book week related book is this one, and this one I heard a lot more positive things about, and that is the Book Week essay. And this is basically about language, and in particular sort of filler words that don't really mean anything but like give a language color. Being one of them. I've heard really good things about this already, and yeah, I've read some works by this author before. She's a real Dutch language champion, and really gets into like the nitty-gritty of it, and so I'm very excited to read this one. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you a whole lot about all of these books because they're not gonna be that much of interest to you, because they're not going to be translated to English, or at least not for any time soon, because they're all relatively recently Dutch releases. This one I picked up because I read a book by this author before and really loved it. Her last book had a lot to do with sea creatures and the sea animals and just oceans in general, and this is a book that like digs into the earth. So like really interesting mix between fiction and nature writing. This was a book that I asked a bunch of Dutch sort of people from the Dutch bookist community what book they would recommend picking up, and a lot of them said this one. And I think this is a book about both gardening and chronic illness, or illness and death and loss, so maybe like kind of a grief book. And yeah, everyone loves it, so I'm hoping I will love it too. I also got Maud Martha, which I actually read earlier this year, so I really wanted my own copy because I read it from the library and it was my first 5-star book of the year. And then I got this one, which definitely wins the cover award. I'll read the first sentence of the blurb for you. It says, Kato is a young woman with a cat, a passion for reading and an invisible anger in her. Her hunger is big and insatiable. I think this deals with eating disorders and yeah, also a book I heard really good things about. And then the last Dutch book is this one. I'm not sure what the title translates as. It's basically someone who works in care work and they go to people's houses to bandage up their legs, you know, when someone's legs get bigger or swollen with fluids because of heart failure, for example, and they bandage their legs to get the fluids out of their legs. I don't know of any of the English terms for that, so sorry. But it's the kind of job that's very adjacent to my job. It's not a job I do, but I am in contact a lot with the people who do these kind of jobs. So that sounded very interesting to me. And it's also about young people living in Amsterdam and in particular homeless young people. So yeah, it sounded very interesting, and yeah, I read this author before and enjoyed her. So that was all the Dutch books. And then lastly, I got a blind date with a book. I got this at the American Book Center. They have one of their stores in Amsterdam, which is actually the one I prefer, but this one's really nice as well. It has a really big selection of English books, but I picked up this, so I'm sure you're all familiar with the concept of a blind date with a book. You get a wrapped book which has some keywords on the front. Quite a few of the books that they had on display as a blind date with a book, I could guess which book it was from the keywords, but this was one that I wasn't able to figure out. So it says short story collection, which I am very excited about, reflections on travel, life, death, motion and migration, and lastly, enchanting, unsettling, original. So that doesn't really tell us much, so I'm very curious what this will be. So let's open it. I thought I'd figure I open it now just in case I do already own this book. Then maybe I could return it. Okay, let's see. That's very interesting. This is Flights by Olga Tokarczuk. I did not guess that, but I am very excited about this one. I have read Impulsion by her, which I did enjoy. I didn't love it, but I am keen to read another one by her, and yeah, short stories for me are usually a hit, so yeah, very excited to be able to read this one. Okay, so that was all of the books I got. Let me just get them here, like a nice good stack of new books to fill up my bookshelves. And yeah, for the rest of the evening I'm just gonna chill out in my hotel room. I am quite knackered from walking around all day, and sometimes it is just good to know when to stop. So I'm gonna have a nice shower, get into my pajamas, and just chill out, watch some TV, read some books. I got some some snacks, and by that I mean my holiday staple of hummus and carrots for dinner, which I know doesn't sound very exciting, but I've been having so many lovely food that I've been craving something a little bit more simple. And yeah, I'm gonna have a really lovely evening. It's my last evening here, and I will see you tomorrow. Hello, it's me back home. When I was editing this video, I realized I didn't really have any footage of me doing any talking about what I was doing during the last day, so I thought I would just wrap it up here. I was actually talking to Milena on her reading sprints about my trip, and she asked me if I was doing a vlog, and I was like, yes, but I'll only know whether it will be a vlog once I see the footage. Meaning I just filmed clips as I went along rather than having any sort of narrative in my mind, because when I'm on a trip I want to be in the moment rather than having to think about how it would work in a video. So yeah, the last day I decided to go to another museum, the photo museum, which is, as you may guess, a museum of photography. They had an exhibition on Japanese female photographers from the 1950s until now. It was really great. It had many beautiful and thought-provoking works showing different styles, different techniques, but also putting a lens to different moments in history and culture. Yeah, I think it is definitely worth a visit if you had a chance. And then, lo and behold, there was another bookstore nearby, and this was definitely my favorite of all the ones I visited. It was a little bit bigger than the other ones, but still very very manageable and not, overwhelmingly big. It just meant they had a broader selection of books, I think, and I really loved how all the different sections, like the non-fiction section, the English book section, were all very distinct from each other, and you know, the children's book section was just so much fun. I really loved that. And I went home with 2 more books. Don't worry, I still stayed within my own limits of how many books I could buy, which was how many I could fit the shelves behind me. So yeah, the final 2 books I got were Hemellichamen by Sinead Gleeson. This is translated from the English by Astrid Huisman. The original title of this is Constellations. And this is basically a memoir in essays about the author living with chronic pain and illness and her relationship to her body, how that changes when she becomes a mother, the influence of art in her life. It's, you know, a kind of hard to define kind of book. And the other one is this one, Onderling, by Miek Zwamborn. This is another one of those hard to define books. It's about the author's time living on the island of Mull in Scotland, and her exploring the landscape and in particular the coastline through essays and poems and photographs and maps. As you can see, it has a lot of different things going on, a lot of photographs and different kind of narratives. This one comes highly recommended by some people who I trust in their taste in nature writing in particular. So yeah, I'm very excited about this one as well. So yeah, let's put these back on the shelves. As you can see, they fit very nicely. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had a really good time in The Hague. I feel like it's a great city for a short trip because it has a little bit of everything. Of course, I got super lucky with the weather as well. I mean, everything is just a lot more enjoyable on a nice early spring day, I think. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.